Right, so before I move on to 10.2, I realized something that I did not do correctly. I didn't really test everything, even though there at the end I had the one issue that I found. With you, I didn't do a good testing. So if you ran into this issue, this will just be a fix that you will commit as such. So here's what happened for me. Is that after I completed the video, I came back in here and I was seeing some unusual things even after I got what seemed to be correct output. So I came in here, and I often will do this. I'll start with just a blank, not a blank, but a default submission based on the values, right? And so for the waste production, of course, it's 0. What would happen here, and let me just go ahead and let it run, is that I was getting an error on the results display. And I won't get that error if I'm just doing a refresh, and then, and in this case I could let it run. But I was getting a null. So what was happening is the reason, and I did find the other issue, but there was another one, even deeper in there, and it was really about both the total points, what was causing the null to be there, and the fact that when I would calculate a new footprint history entry, I was getting an error. Okay, so this is, again, I didn't follow my own good advice to test everything well. So I'm back at it this time just to tell you, again, about the troubleshooting process. So I started with this, right? So I'm getting an error in the results, and I'm getting an error when it's trying to call the waste production footprint. Okay, try to call to fixed on that. So the first thing I would most likely do here is I'd set a breakpoint on here. And by the way, because of where it's breaking, I'm still getting, if I go look up in here, I'm still getting entries for this. And this is something we haven't really talked about too much, but is ways to give your code even more resilience. But for now, it's just good to think about if it breaks on display results, that means I already have results, right? It's just a display. And in this case, it's a hard error, which means no other code is running after it. So to troubleshoot it, calculate. And so what I would do here is I would go, okay, so that's the reference to the display, all right? And then what I would do is I'd look at results. And I would go, oh, my footprint. That's the first thing I see is my waste production footprint and my total. So this is undefined, and this is not a number. So then you have to say, well, where do these results come from? And it's the calculator. Okay? So then what I would do is go to the calculator. I would set a breakpoint on my calculating my first my points for my waste production, and then the total. But I'm going to go ahead and let this run. I know that's an error. I'm going to refresh the page. Okay? I know this wouldn't trip the debug, the break line, because of where it's going to be run when in calculator, so I'll hit it here, but I am still getting null in here, and I have 3 entries. So I'm stopping my code here, and I'm going to call this, and I'm passing 0, so that's okay. So when I come into here, I'm like, okay, just to make still passing 0. So greater than 50 shouldn't hit. If this shouldn't hit, if this shouldn't hit, wait a minute, if this nothing hit. In other words, there was no condition block that was true. So when it's returning, in this case, what am I returning? I'm returning an undefined, and that undefined is then bleeding into my total and creating an issue there. So this is where walking through code really does help figure out where issues like this. Now this issue, I remember when I wrote it thinking, okay, and I just didn't think through it enough, which happens, right? So I now have it open. So in this case, could I do less than, right, greater than or equal to 0? I could do that, or I could be more explicit here and have one more that just says return 5. Okay? So if you get to this line, right, if you've gotten all the way through this, nothing's hit, then just return 5. Okay, so let's see, right? Okay, now I got another entry there. Okay, I'll hit edit here. Remember, edit and update are the same. I'll go ahead and let this run, and this looks good. Okay. Now what happened was here, because whenever I did the update, it updated only that particular entry. I can either clear all the data or run another one. Okay, just to show that the update is indeed, let me let it run all the way through, right? And I could come here, maybe put a number in here just to also check, because this is really testing, right? Here we go. Good. 78 3 cans of waste. Good, good, good. Okay, so in this case, I should have given you this is actually should be fixed. If you ran into this issue, you may not have, but I'm guessing many of you would have. Then your commit for this one just would be fixed waste production. That issue right there. Okay? All right, so now we'll move on to, this was part 2 of 10.1. All right, we'll move on to 10.2.1 in a minute.